Commander Vexistar stood before the massive holographic display in the war room of the flagship Eternal Victory. The blue light from the star map cast strange shadows across his scaled face as he studied the list of potential targets. His advisor, Quindal, floated beside him on anti-gravity platforms, her tentacles tapping nervously against the control panel. "Show me the next candidate," Vexistar commanded, his voice echoing through the metal chamber. The display shifted, showing a small, blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. Data streams appeared beside the rotating world, listing its basic information in glowing text. "This is designation Sol 3, locally called Earth," Quindale read from her tablet. "Single dominant species, no unified planetary government. Technology, level, primitive kinetic weapons only. No energy shields detected." Vextar's eyes widened with interest. In his 300 years of military service, he had conquered dozens of worlds. Most surrendered the moment his fleet appeared in their skies. The ones that tried to fight usually had some basic energy weapons or defensive systems. This planet had nothing. "Tell me more about their military capabilities," he said, leaning closer to the display. Quindal's tentacles danced over her controls, bringing up more information. They appear to be divided into approximately 200 separate nations. These nations frequently engage in conflicts with each other using primitive explosive devices and metal projectiles. Metal projectiles? Vextar laughed, a harsh sound that made the bridge crew turn their heads. "You mean they still use solid ammunition? Like the ancient civilizations we study in museums?" "Correct, Commander. Their most advanced weapons appear to be guided missiles with chemical explosives. No energy-based weaponry detected. No particle beams. No plasma cannons. Nothing that could threaten our shields." Vextar walked around the holographic Earth, studying it from all angles. The planet looked peaceful from space, with white clouds swirling over blue oceans and brown continents. It was hard to believe that the creatures living down there were so primitive. "What about their space capabilities?" he asked. "Limited. They have launched some small vessels beyond their atmosphere, but nothing that could be considered a military threat. Their largest spacecraft appear to be research stations and supply vessels." "Perfect." Vextar's mouth curved into what his species considered a smile. "This will be the easiest conquest in Dominion history. We'll be back home in time for the victory celebrations." Far below, on the surface of Earth, Dr. Park Min-ho was having trouble sleeping. The 35-year-old astrophysicist had been working late at Seoul National University, reviewing data from the Deep Space Monitoring Array. Something had caught his attention in the radio telescope readings from earlier that day. He climbed out of bed and walked to his home computer, pulling up the files he had been studying. The data showed unusual energy signatures coming from the edge of the solar system. At first, he had thought it might be a solar storm or some kind of natural phenomenon, but the patterns were too regular, too organized. Park Min-ho rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the numbers again. If his calculations were correct, these energy signatures were moving. Not just moving, but moving toward Earth in a formation that looked almost military. He picked up his phone and dialed his colleague at the observatory. "Dr. Kim, it's Park Min-ho. I know it's late, but I need you to check something for me." Meanwhile, in the Pacific Ocean, Captain Lee Ji-won stood on the bridge of the South Korean Navy destroyer Sejong the Great. The ship was part of a routine patrol mission, but something felt different tonight. The radar operator had reported strange readings earlier, but they had disappeared before anyone could get a clear look. "Captain," called Petty Officer Han from the communications station. "I'm getting odd radio interference. It's not like anything I've heard before." Lee Ji-won walked over to listen, too. The sounds coming through the speakers were definitely not natural. They had a pattern to them, like some kind of coded transmission. "Record everything," she ordered, "and contact the other ships in our task force. Ask if they're hearing the same thing." Above Earth's atmosphere, the alien scout ships moved silently through space. Their advanced sensors scanned the planet below, gathering information about military installations, population centers, and communication networks. "The target appears even weaker than our initial assessment," reported Scout Leader Zephyra to Commander Vextar. "Their military forces are scattered across the globe with no central command structure. Most of their weapons appear to be designed for fighting each other rather than external threats." "Excellent," Vextar replied through the communication link. Begin Phase 1 of the invasion plan. I want surrender broadcasts ready in their major languages. This should be over within a few hours. Back on Earth, Dr. Park Min-ho was now fully awake and deeply worried. He had confirmed his readings with 3 other observatories, and they all showed the same thing. Unknown objects were approaching Earth, from the outer solar system, and they were definitely artificial. He reached for his phone again, this time calling the emergency contact number for the Korean government's Science Advisory Committee. This is Dr. Park Min-ho from Seoul National University. I need to speak to someone in authority immediately. We may have a situation. The voice on the other end sounded sleepy and annoyed. Dr. Park, do you have any idea what time it is? This better be important. I believe we're about to receive visitors from space, Park Min-ho said quietly, and I don't think they're coming to say hello. Colonel Kim Sora was sleeping in the officers' quarters at Osan Air Base when her phone started ringing. As one of the Republic of Korea Air Force's top pilots, she was used to emergency calls, but something about the tone of this one made her instantly alert. Colonel Kim, report to the command center immediately, said the voice of her commanding officer. We have a situation developing. She dressed quickly and hurried to the command center, where she found a room full of worried-looking officers staring at computer screens and satellite feeds. What's the situation? She asked. We're not entirely sure yet, replied General Huang, the base commander, but we're getting reports from multiple sources about unidentified objects approaching Earth. The Americans are calling it a potential first contact scenario. Kim Sora felt her heart skip a beat. First contact meant aliens. Real aliens, not the kind from movies. What are our orders, she asked. For now, we wait and prepare. All air wings are being placed on high alert. If these visitors turn out to be hostile, we need to be ready. Aboard the Eternal Victory, Commander Vexatar was reviewing the final invasion plans with his senior staff. The holographic display now showed Earth surrounded by red dots representing his fleet positions. 300 ships should be more than enough, he told his officers. Most primitive worlds surrender after seeing just 10 of our vessels. This species won't even know what hit them. Sir, interrupted Communications Officer Trelvan, we're detecting increased radio chatter from the planet's surface. It appears they may have noticed our approach. No matter. Vextar waved a dismissive hand. Let them panic. It will make the surrender negotiations go faster. Begin broadcasting our demands on all frequencies. The message that went out to Earth was simple. People of Earth, you are now subjects of the Galactic Dominion. Cease all military activities and prepare for occupation. Resistance is futile and will result in the destruction of your world. Dr. Park Min-ho was in the Emergency Command Center when the alien broadcast reached Earth. Government officials and military leaders from around the world were connected via video link, all looking stunned as the translation software worked to decode the message. Well, said the Korean Minister of Defense, at least we know what they want. The question is, replied the American Secretary of State through the video link, what do we do about it? Captain Lee Ji-won received the alert while her destroyer was still on patrol in the Pacific. The alien ultimatum had been broadcast to all military units worldwide. As she read the message, she felt a cold anger building inside her. Communications, get me a link to Fleet Command, she ordered. And signal the other ships in our task force. It looks like we're going to have company soon. Colonel Kim Sora was strapping herself into her fighter jet when the invasion fleet appeared on Earth's radar screens. 300 alien ships, arranged in perfect formation, hanging in space just beyond the moon's orbit. All pilots, this is base command, came the voice through her helmet radio. The visitors have shown their true intentions. We are now at war. Repeat. We are now at war with an alien invasion force. As she prepared for takeoff, Kim Sora couldn't help but think about the absurdity of the situation. Of all the planets in the galaxy, the aliens had chosen to invade Earth. Did they really think humanity would just roll over and surrender? She smiled grimly as her fighter's engines roared to life. They're about to learn something about humans, she said to herself. We don't give up without a fight. Captain Lee Ji-won stood on the bridge of her destroyer, watching the horizon through her binoculars. The alien fleet had been sitting in space for 6 hours now, waiting for Earth's surrender. Instead of surrendering, every major navy in the world had sent ships to form a combined task force in the Pacific Ocean. Captain, called her communications officer. "We're receiving coordination data from the American fleet. They want us to take position on the eastern flank." "Understood," Li Jiwan replied. She looked around at her crew, all of them focused on their duties despite the impossible situation they faced. "Signal the other Korean ships. We move together." Her destroyer was joined by vessels from 12 different countries. American aircraft carriers, British frigates, Japanese destroyers, Chinese cruisers, and Russian submarines had all put aside their differences to face the alien threat. It was the largest naval cooperation in human history. "Ma'am," said her radar operator, "something's happening up there. One of the alien ships is breaking formation." Through her binoculars, Li Jiwan could see a bright streak of light moving down from space toward their position. The alien ship was huge, easily 10 times the size of her destroyer, with strange curved surfaces that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. "All stations, battle stations," she announced over the ship's intercom. "This is not a drill." Aboard the alien cruiser Shadow of Dominance, Captain Yeltar was confident this would be a simple demonstration. The primitive humans had gathered their pathetic ships in one location, making his job even easier. One blast from his main weapon would vaporize their entire fleet, and the rest of the planet would surrender immediately. "Sir," reported his weapons officer, "we're in range of the human vessels. Their weapons are exactly as predicted. Simple, chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Our shields will easily deflect anything they can throw at us." "Excellent," Yeltar replied. "Target their largest ship and fire. One shot should be enough to break their spirit." The alien cruiser descended. Through Earth's atmosphere, its energy shields glowing blue around its hull. As it approached the human fleet, it began charging its main plasma cannon. On the bridge of the American aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford, Admiral Chen was coordinating the combined fleet's response. "All ships, this is Fleet Command. The bogey is coming in hot. Weapons free. Repeat, weapons free." Captain Li Jiwan watched as the alien ship came within range. "Fire control. Target that ship with everything we have. All missile tubes, maximum spread." Her destroyer launched 16 anti-ship missiles simultaneously. Around the fleet, dozens of other ships did the same. The sky filled with white contrails as nearly 200 missiles streaked toward the alien vessel. Captain Yeltar watched the primitive missiles approaching and laughed. "Look at them, firing their crude weapons at us. This will be amusing." But his amusement turned to confusion when the first missile struck his shields. Instead of bouncing off harmlessly, it exploded with tremendous force, sending visible ripples across the energy barrier. "Sir," called his shield operator, panic creeping into his voice. "That missile actually damaged our shields. How is that possible?" "Impossible," Yeltar snapped. "Primitive explosives cannot penetrate Dominion technology." The second missile hit, then the third, then 10 more in rapid succession. Each explosion weakened the shields further. The alien crew watched in growing horror as their supposedly invincible defenses began to fail. "All power to shields!" Yeltar screamed, but it was too late. The last wave of missiles broke through completely, striking the alien ship's hull directly. Explosions bloomed across its surface as human weapons tore into systems designed to intimidate, not to withstand real combat. Captain Li Jiwan watched with satisfaction as the alien ship began smoking and losing altitude. "Communications. Signal the fleet. Target is damaged and descending. All ships maintain fire." The alien cruiser crashed into the ocean 2 miles from the human fleet, sending up a massive spray of water. Emergency alarms were blaring inside the dying ship as Yeltar tried to understand what had gone wrong. "Damage report," he demanded. "Shields completely offline, sir. Hull breaches on 7 decks. Main weapons destroyed. Life support failing." "How?" Yeltar could barely speak. "How did their primitive weapons defeat our technology?" His science officer looked up from her scanner with fear in her eyes. "Sir, our shields were designed to deflect energy weapons and particle beams. These humans use crude chemical explosives. Our shields simply weren't programmed to handle that kind of impact." Deep beneath the ocean's surface, Commander Oh Sung-hee was waiting in her submarine Rox Dosan An Changho. She had been tracking the alien ship since it entered the atmosphere, and now she had a perfect shot at the crash site. "Sonar, confirm target location," she ordered quietly. "Target confirmed, ma'am. Alien vessel is dead in the water approximately 2,000 meters ahead." Fire tubes 1 through 4. Full spread. 4 torpedoes launched from the submarine, their engines leaving trails of bubbles as they raced toward the crashed alien ship. The crew of the Shadow of Dominance never saw them coming. The explosions finished what the missiles had started. The alien cruiser broke apart and sank to the ocean floor, taking most of its crew with it. Aboard the Eternal Victory, Commander Vexitar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The red dot representing Captain Yeltar's ship had vanished. Completely. "Sir," his communications officer reported, voice shaking, "we've lost contact with the Shadow of Dominance. Last transmission indicated they were under heavy attack." "Impossible," Vexitar growled. It was one ship against their entire primitive fleet. How could they possibly— "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human planet." The main screen showed Admiral Chen on the bridge of the American carrier. The human looked calm and confident as he spoke. "Alien vessels, this is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your ship attacked our forces and has been destroyed. You have 1 hour to withdraw from Earth orbit, or we will consider you hostile invaders and respond accordingly." Vexitar's jaw dropped. A primitive species was threatening him? "Send a reply immediately. Tell them they will surrender now or face total annihilation." "Sir," interrupted his tactical officer, "I'm detecting unusual movement from the human planet. Multiple objects are launching from their surface." The display showed dozens of human spacecraft lifting off from Earth. They were crude-looking vessels, clearly converted from civilian rockets and satellites, but they were armed and moving toward the alien fleet. Dr. Shin Mirai was aboard one of these hastily converted spacecraft, analyzing pieces of the destroyed alien ship that had been recovered from the ocean. As a military technology researcher, she was fascinated by what she was seeing. "The alien materials are incredibly advanced," she reported to Mission Control. "But their design philosophy is completely different from ours. They built for intimidation and quick victories, not sustained combat." She studied a fragment of the alien shield generator. "Their technology assumes the enemy will use energy weapons. Our chemical explosives bypass their defenses entirely because they never programmed their systems to handle kinetic impact." Major Yoon Daeho was coordinating ground defenses around Seoul when the news reached him. The first alien ship had been destroyed, but intelligence suggested more would follow. "All units, prepare for possible orbital bombardment," he announced over the radio. "If they can't intimidate us, they might try to attack our cities directly." His special forces teams were already positioning anti-aircraft weapons and surface-to-air missiles around major population centers. It was primitive compared to alien technology, but as the ocean battle had just proven, primitive could be very effective. Admiral Choi Hyun-sik was reviewing battle reports when his aide brought him the latest intelligence analysis. The destroyed alien ship had been recovered, and human engineers were already studying its technology. "Sir, preliminary analysis suggests the aliens have never fought a real war," his aide reported. "Their tactics and equipment are designed for fighting opponents who surrender quickly." "And we're not going to surrender," Admiral Choi said grimly. "No, sir. In fact, our combined fleet is requesting permission to advance toward the main alien force." Admiral Choi smiled. "Permission granted. Signal all ships. We're taking this fight to them." High above Earth, Commander Vexitar was receiving increasingly desperate reports from his remaining ships. The humans were not behaving like any species his people had ever encountered. Instead of cowering in fear after losing one ship, they were becoming more aggressive. "Sir, recommend we call for reinforcements," his advisor Quindal suggested nervously. "Reinforcements?" Vexitar snapped. "Against primitives with metal weapons? Absolutely not. We'll handle this ourselves." But as he watched more human ships rising, from the planet's surface, all armed and apparently eager for battle, he began to wonder if perhaps they had made a small miscalculation about this species called humans. Commander Vexitar paced back and forth on the bridge of the Eternal Victory, his claws clicking against the metal floor. The loss of one ship should not have bothered him this much, but something about the way it happened made him deeply uncomfortable. "Deploy half the fleet," he ordered his tactical officer. 150 ships should be more than enough to crush their pathetic resistance. "Sir," Quindal spoke carefully, "perhaps we should study their tactics first. The way they destroyed the Shadow of Dominance was unexpected." "Unexpected?" Vexitar's voice rose. "They got lucky with their primitive explosives. Nothing more. I will not be embarrassed by backwards creatures who still use chemical weapons." The alien fleet began moving toward Earth, their ships arranged in the standard Dominion attack formation. It was the same formation that had conquered 1,000 worlds, and Vextar saw no reason to change it now. Colonel Kim Sora was leading a squadron of 20 F-35 fighters toward the approaching alien fleet. Her pilots came from 6 different countries: Korean, American, Japanese, British, German, and French aircraft flying together in perfect formation. "Dragon Squadron, this is Dragon Leader," she spoke into her radio. "Enemy formation approaching from Grid 77. Count shows 150 bogies, various sizes. Dragon Leader, this is Dragon 2, came the reply from her wingman. "Those ships are huge. Our missiles might not be enough." Kim Sora checked her weapons display. Each fighter carried 6 air-to-air missiles and 1 20mm cannon. Against normal aircraft, it would be plenty. Against alien starships, she wasn't so sure. "All aircraft, remember the briefing," she announced. "Their shields can't handle kinetic impact. Aim for the same spot with multiple missiles. We break their defenses, then use cannons on the hull." "Copy that, Dragon Leader. Beginning attack run." The human fighters accelerated toward the alien fleet, flying low and fast to avoid detection. Behind them, more squadrons were launching from airfields around the world. Every nation with combat aircraft was sending everything they had. Aboard the alien battleship Conquest of Stars, Captain Morden was confident this would be a simple extermination mission. The humans had gotten lucky once, but now they faced a proper fleet with experienced commanders. "Sir," reported his scanner operator, "detecting small aircraft approaching our position. Approximately 200 contacts moving at high speed." "Fighters?" Morden laughed. "These primitives think tiny aircraft can damage our battleships? Prepare point defense systems. We'll swat them like insects." The alien ships began firing energy beams at the approaching human fighters. Bright blue bolts of plasma streaked through the sky, but the human pilots were ready for them. They scattered into evasive patterns, using their superior maneuverability to avoid the alien weapons. "Dragon Squadron, break and attack!" Kim Sora called out. "All flights, engage at will!" Her fighter dove toward the nearest alien cruiser, dodging plasma bolts as she lined up her shot. The alien ship was massive, easily 50 times larger than her F-35, but she had learned something important from the ocean battle. Size didn't matter if you couldn't hit back effectively. "Fox 3, she called, launching 2 missiles at the alien ship's shield generator. The missiles struck the glowing energy barrier and exploded, sending ripples across its surface. Behind her, 3 more fighters launched their own missiles at the same target. The combined explosions overloaded the shield generator, causing it to flicker and fail. "Shields down on the lead cruiser!" someone shouted over the radio. "All units, concentrate fire!" 20 human fighters swarmed the defenseless alien ship, their cannons tearing into its hull. The aliens had designed their vessels to look impressive and intimidating, but they had not built them to withstand sustained attack from multiple directions. Captain Morden watched in horror as his escort ships came under attack from tiny human aircraft that moved like angry wasps. Every time his gunners targeted one fighter, 3 more would appear from a different angle. "How are they moving so fast?" he demanded from his pilot. "Sir, their aircraft are much smaller than anything in our database. Our targeting systems are having trouble tracking them." "Then fire more shots!" "We are, sir, but they keep changing direction, and our plasma bolts are too slow to hit them at close range." On the surface of Earth, Dr. Shin Mirai was working frantically in a military laboratory, studying pieces of alien technology recovered from the destroyed cruiser. What she was learning changed everything humans thought they knew about their enemy. "General Nam," she called to the army officer overseeing her work. "You need to see this immediately." General Nam Junho walked over to her workstation, where she had alien shield components spread across several tables. "What have you found?" he asked. "Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it's built for a very specific type of warfare," she explained, pointing to the shield generator. "Look at these power settings. This device can stop energy weapons that would vaporize our strongest tanks, but it uses almost no power to defend against physical impact." Meaning they've never fought anyone who uses bullets, missiles, or bombs. Their entire military is designed to fight other high-tech species that use energy weapons exclusively. General Nam studied the alien components with new interest. "So they're like warriors who trained their whole lives to fight swords, but they've never seen a gun?" "Exactly. And there's more." Dr. Shin pulled up a technical diagram on her computer. "Their ship hulls are made from advanced materials, but they're designed to be lightweight and intimidating. They never expected anyone to actually hit them after their shields failed. Major Yoon Dae-ho was listening to the battle reports from his command post when Dr. Shin's analysis reached him. His special forces teams were spread across the country, ready to fight alien ground troops, but this new information gave him a different idea. "All units, this is Control," he spoke into his radio. "New intelligence indicates alien technology is vulnerable to conventional weapons. I repeat, our standard equipment is effective against their systems." He looked at the map showing alien ship positions above Earth. If human fighters could damage alien warships, maybe ground-based weapons could do even more. "Missile Command, this is Major Yoon. Do we have any surface-to-air missiles with sufficient range to engage targets in low orbit?" "Affirmative, Major. We have several Patriot batteries that could reach the lower altitude targets." "Excellent. Begin targeting alien ships that come within range. Use maximum warhead settings." Back in space, the battle was turning into a disaster. For the aliens, human fighters were destroying alien ships faster than the aliens could target them. The humans fought like nothing the Dominion had ever encountered, using tactics that made no sense according to galactic warfare standards. Colonel Kim Sora had just finished her third attack run when she received an urgent message from ground. "Control! Dragon Leader, this is Sol Control. We're detecting alien ships attempting to break off from the main battle. Looks like they're heading for major cities." Kim Sora checked her fuel gauge. She had enough for one more engagement. "Dragon! Squadron, form up on me. We have runners trying to escape." Her fighters pursued the fleeing alien ships toward the Korean peninsula. As they approached Seoul, something unexpected happened. Missiles began launching from the ground, streaking upward toward the alien vessels. "Dragon Leader, this is Missile. Command! We have multiple SAM sites engaging alien targets. Clear the area for surface-to-air engagement." Kim Sora watched as Patriot missiles struck two alien ships, their conventional warheads punching through alien hulls like paper. The enemy vessels exploded in brilliant flashes of light, their debris falling into the Han River. Dr. Bae Tae-hoon was working in a secure facility outside Seoul, trying to adapt human nuclear weapons to fight alien ships. As a nuclear physicist, he understood that raw explosive power might be humanity's greatest advantage. "The preliminary calculations are encouraging," he reported to his military liaison. "If we can modify our existing warheads to target alien energy systems, we could potentially disable entire ships with single strikes." "How long would that take?" the officer asked. "Give me 3 days and unlimited resources," Bae Tae-hoon replied. "I can have prototype weapons ready for testing." Admiral Choi Hyun-sik was coordinating the global defense effort from his command. Center when the reports started coming in. Human forces were winning battles they should have lost, using weapons that should have been useless against advanced alien technology. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're getting victory. Confirmations from combat zones worldwide. Human forces have destroyed over 40 alien ships with minimal losses." "How minimal?" Admiral Choi asked. 12 aircraft lost. No ships, no ground installations. The aliens are retreating from several battle zones." Admiral Choi allowed himself a small smile. "Signal all units. Press the attack. Don't give them time to regroup." Commander Vextar stared at his tactical display in complete shock. Half of his deployed fleet was gone, destroyed by primitive humans using weapons that belonged in a museum. His remaining ships were reporting system failures, crew panic, and requests to withdraw. "Sir," Quindal approached him carefully. "Recommend. We call for immediate reinforcements from the home fleet." "The home fleet?" Vextar's voice was barely a whisper. "You want me to tell High Command that I need the entire Admiral Choi Hyun-sik stood in the war room, looking at the tactical display showing the retreating alien fleet. The enemy ships were pulling back to the edge of the solar system, regrouping near Jupiter's orbit. Intelligence reports suggested they were waiting for reinforcements. We can't let them recover," he told his staff officers. "Every hour we give them is another hour, for their backup to arrive." Captain Oh Seung-hee entered the briefing room, still wearing her submarine uniform. Her crew had been working around the clock, retrofitting their vessel with alien technology salvaged from the destroyed ships. "Admiral, the Dosan An Changho is ready for the mission," she reported. "My engineers have successfully integrated alien propulsion systems with our existing hull. We can operate in space now." Admiral Choi nodded approvingly. "How many other submarines have been converted?" 15 so far, sir. American, British, Russian, and Chinese subs are also being modified. We should have a full space-capable fleet within 12 hours. The idea had come from Dr. Shin Mirei's analysis of alien technology. Human submarines were already designed to operate in hostile environments with limited resources. With alien propulsion systems, they could function perfectly in space while maintaining their stealth capabilities. Commander Lim Seojin was overseeing the final modifications to his submarine Rock-S Shindol-sak when the launch order came through. His vessel had been fitted with alien engines and life support systems, turning it into something unprecedented. A space-capable submarine. "All stations, prepare for launch," he announced over the intercom. "This is going to be interesting." The submarine rose from the ocean using alien anti-gravity generators, water streaming from its hull as it climbed toward the stars. Around the world, similar vessels were launching from naval bases, creating humanity's first stealth space fleet. Dr. Bae Tae-hoon had worked for 3 days straight, modifying nuclear warheads to target alien energy systems. His breakthrough came when he realized that alien technology was extremely vulnerable to electromagnetic pulses. "The warheads are ready," he reported to General Nam Junho. "These modified nukes will disable alien ships instead of just destroying them. We can capture their technology intact." "How many do we have?" General Nam asked. 12 prototypes, sir. Each one can disable a ship the size of their largest battleship." "Excellent. Load them onto our space-capable delivery systems immediately." Meanwhile, Captain Oh Sung-hee was leading the first submarine Wolfpack through space, heading toward the alien staging area near Jupiter. Her sonar had been modified to work in vacuum, using gravitational sensors to detect alien ships. "Contact," reported her sonar operator. "Multiple large vessels bearing 270. Range approximately 50,000 kilometers." "Perfect," Oh Sung-hee smiled. "They won't see us coming. In space, we're just another piece of floating metal." The alien fleet was indeed unaware of the approaching human submarines. Commander Vextar was focused on the reinforcements arriving from the Dominion homeworld, 200 fresh ships with crews who had never heard of the embarrassing defeats on Earth. "Admiral Kethvar, welcome to the Sol system," Vextar greeted the reinforcement commander. "I trust your journey was uneventful." Admiral Kethvar was an old warrior with scars from dozens of campaigns. He looked at Vextar with barely concealed disgust. "I came here expecting to find you celebrating victory, not hiding behind Jupiter like a coward." "Admiral, these humans are not like other species. They use primitive weapons that our shields cannot—" "Enough excuses," Kethvar cut him off. "I will demonstrate proper Dominion tactics. All ships, prepare for immediate assault on the human homeworld." The combined alien fleet, now numbering over 400 ships, began moving toward Earth. They were confident that sheer numbers would overwhelm human defenses. They never noticed the human submarines following them. Dr. Hong Ji-young was interrogating captured alien crew members in a secure facility. As a xenobiologist, she was fascinated by what she was learning about Dominion society. "Tell me about your military training," she asked the alien prisoner through a translation device. "We study the great campaigns," the alien replied proudly. "The conquest of Zephyria, the submission of the crystalline empire, the peaceful occupation of the gentle worlds." "Peaceful occupation? Of course. Most species surrender immediately when they see our fleet. Fighting is unusual." Dr. Hong made notes on her tablet. This explained everything. The Dominion had spent centuries conquering civilizations that gave up without a fight. They had no experience with actual warfare. What happens if a species doesn't surrender? She asked. The alien looked confused. "They always surrender. Why would they not surrender?" Sergeant Kang Min-soo was leading a special forces team aboard one of the modified submarines. His mission was to board and capture alien ships using techniques developed from studying Dominion technology. "Remember," he told his team as they prepared their equipment, "alien boarding procedures assume the enemy will surrender once they're overwhelmed. They don't expect boarding parties that fight back." His men checked their weapons, conventional assault rifles loaded with armor-piercing rounds. Dr. Shin's analysis had shown that alien personal armor was designed to stop energy weapons, not bullets. "Sarge," asked one of his corporals, "what if there are a lot of them?" "Then we'll have to shoot a lot of them," Kang Min-soo replied calmly. "But remember, these aliens have probably never been in a real firefight. We have." The alien fleet was halfway to Earth when Captain Oh Sung-hee gave the attack order. 15 human submarines launched missiles simultaneously, targeting the alien ship's engine sections. "Multiple contacts launching from unknown positions," screamed the sensor operator aboard Admiral Kethavar's flagship. "Impossible!" Kethavar snapped. "There are no enemy ships in this area." The first wave of missiles struck alien vessels before they could raise their shields. Dr. Bay's modified nuclear warheads detonated, sending electromagnetic pulses through alien systems. Entire ships went dark as their power grids failed. "Sir, we're being attacked by invisible enemies," reported a panicked communications officer. Commander Lim Seojin's submarine had positioned itself directly beneath a massive alien battleship. "Fire boarding torpedoes," he ordered. The modified torpedoes attached themselves to the alien hull and burned through the armor plating. Sergeant Kang Minsu and his team poured through the breach, finding themselves in corridors filled with confused aliens. "Contact front," Kang Minsu shouted, opening fire with his rifle. The alien crew had never experienced anything like this. Their training included lectures on accepting surrender, not fighting desperate boarding actions in narrow corridors. Human soldiers advanced through the ship, using tactics learned from centuries of warfare. "Secure the bridge," Kang Minsu ordered, as his team moved through the alien vessel, "and try to take some prisoners." Admiral Kethavar was receiving damage reports from across his fleet when armed humans burst onto his bridge. He reached for his sidearm, but Sergeant Kang was faster. "Don't move," the human soldier said calmly, his rifle pointed at the alien commander. "You're now a prisoner of war." "This is impossible," Kethavar whispered. "We are the Galactic Dominion. We do not become prisoners." "Well, there's a first time for everything," Kang Minsu replied. Dr. Shin Mirei was aboard one of the captured alien ships, studying their navigation systems when she made an incredible discovery. The aliens had detailed star charts showing the locations of every world they had conquered. "General Nam," she called excitedly, "you need to see this. The aliens have maps of their entire empire, including their home world." General Nam looked at the holographic display showing hundreds of star systems. "Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" "Sir, we now have the location of every Dominion military base, supply depot, and command center. If we wanted to, we could take this war to them." Back on Earth, Admiral Choi was receiving reports from the space battle. Human forces had captured 12 alien ships and disabled 30 more. The enemy fleet was in complete disarray. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender offers from 17 alien vessels. They want to negotiate terms." Admiral Choi considered the situation. A few days ago, humanity had been facing extinction. Now they were capturing alien warships and taking prisoners. "Tell them we'll accept their surrender," he decided. "But make it clear that any ship that tries to escape will be destroyed." Commander. Vextar watched his career end in real time as his fleet fell apart around him. Ships that had never known defeat were surrendering to primitives with chemical weapons. "Sir," Quindal approached him carefully, "perhaps it's time to consider that we may have made a fundamental error in our assessment of this species." Vextar looked at the tactical display, now showing more human ships than alien ones in the local area. "What kind of error?" "We assumed they were primitive because they use old weapons, but maybe they use old weapons because old weapons work better than we thought." As alien ships continued to surrender or fall to human attacks, one thing became clear to everyone involved. The galaxy was about to learn that advanced technology was useless without the experience to use it properly, and humanity. Fleet Admiral Park Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the captured alien flagship Eternal Victory, now renamed Human Spirit. 3 months had passed since the failed alien invasion, and humanity had spent that time learning everything they could from their defeated enemies. "Admiral," reported Captain Lee Ji-won from her new position as Fleet Communications Officer, "all ships report ready for departure. The combined Earth fleet is prepared to begin Operation Homecoming." Park Ji-hoon looked out at the massive fleet assembled around Earth. 200 ships. Half of them captured alien vessels crewed by humans. The other half human ships upgraded with alien technology. It was the most powerful military force in human history. "Dr. Kwon," he called to his strategic advisor, "remind me again why we're doing this instead of just fortifying Earth?" Dr. Kwon Hyejin pulled up a holographic display showing the Galactic Dominion's territory. "Sir, our interrogations of alien prisoners revealed that the Dominion has never faced serious resistance. They rule through fear and intimidation. If We just defend Earth, they'll keep sending larger fleets until they overwhelm us. But if we attack their homeworld, we prove that they're not invincible. Their entire empire is built on the myth that Dominion forces cannot be defeated. Break that myth, and their conquered worlds might start thinking about freedom. Commander Vextar sat in a detention cell aboard the human flagship, watching through a small window as the human fleet prepared to depart. His interrogation sessions with Dr. Hong Ji-young had been surprisingly civil, but deeply disturbing. "You cannot win," he told her during their daily conversation. "The Dominion has ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. Our homeworld has defenses you cannot imagine." Dr. Hong looked up from her notes. "What kind of defenses?" "Orbital platforms with weapons that can destroy planets, shield generators that protect the entire system, fleets of ships that dwarf what you captured here. But have those defenses ever been tested in actual combat?" Vextar paused. They have never needed to be tested. No one has ever been foolish enough to attack the homeworld." "Maybe that's the problem," Dr. Hong replied gently. "You've built all these weapons, but you've never learned how to use them in a real fight." Master Sergeant Ryu Dongyun was training a group of alien prisoners in human military tactics. It had been Dr. Kwan's idea: use cooperative aliens to help establish new governments on conquered worlds after the Dominion fell. "The key to human warfare," he explained to his students, "is that we expect the enemy to fight back. We plan for resistance, not surrender." One of the alien prisoners, a former ship captain named Tillian, raised his hand. "But why would you want the enemy to fight back? Wouldn't it be easier if they surrendered?" "Sure, it would be easier," Ryu Dongyun agreed. "But easier doesn't make you a better warrior. We learned to fight because we had to fight. Your people learned to intimidate because intimidation worked." "Until now," Tillian said quietly. "Until now," the sergeant confirmed. The human fleet entered hyperspace using alien navigation systems, heading toward the Dominion homeworld of Nexus Prime. The journey would take 2 weeks, giving the crew time to prepare for what would be the largest military operation in human history. Colonel Kim Sora was commanding the fighter wings aboard the fleet carriers. Her pilots now flew a mix of human and alien aircraft, creating hybrid squadrons that combined human tactics with alien technology. "Remember," she told her squadron leaders, "their homeworld defenses were designed to stop massive fleets using conventional tactics. We're going to hit them with small, fast attacks that they won't expect." "Ma'am," asked one of her pilots, "what if they have fighters of their own?" "Then we'll find out if alien pilots are any better at dogfighting than they are at everything else." Dr. Bae-Tae-hoon had spent the journey working on new weapons specifically designed to defeat planetary defense systems. His modified nuclear warheads could now target the massive shield generators protecting Nexus Prime. "The alien shields are incredibly powerful," he explained to Admiral Park, "but they're designed like everything else in their military, for intimidation rather than sustained combat. Hit them with enough electromagnetic pulses and they'll overload." "How many pulses?" the Admiral asked. "Based on our analysis of captured shield generators, I estimate 6 simultaneous detonations should be enough to bring down their planetary defenses." "And we have 12 warheads ready?" "Yes, sir, plus conventional weapons for the orbital platforms." The Dominion High Command on Nexus Prime was in chaos. Reports from the failed Earth invasion had shocked the entire government. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Dominion fleet had been defeated by a primitive species. Supreme Admiral Zorthak called an emergency meeting of the War Council. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our forces should have crushed these humans easily." "Sir," reported Intelligence Director Velshar, "analysis of the battle records suggests the humans use warfare techniques that are ancient by galactic standards. They actually fight instead of surrendering." "That's impossible. Civilized species don't engage in prolonged warfare. It's inefficient." "Yes, sir, but these humans appear to be extremely efficient at warfare itself. They've been fighting each other for thousands of years." Supreme Admiral Zorthak studied the reports with growing unease. The Dominion military had grown comfortable with easy victories. Most of their officers had never commanded ships in actual combat. "Double the homeworld defenses," he ordered. "If these humans want to fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." But as the orders went out to strengthen Nexus Prime's defenses, no one in the Dominion command structure had experience fighting an enemy that planned for prolonged warfare. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus system, immediately spreading into attack formations that confused the alien defenders. "This is Admiral Park to all ships," the fleet commander announced. "Operation Homecoming is now active. Remember, we're not here to conquer their world. We're here to prove they can be beaten." Captain Oh Sung-hee's submarine, Dosun An Chang-ho, was leading a stealth squadron toward the planetary shields. The alien sensors couldn't detect the modified human vessels as they approached the massive generator stations. "All boats, this is Wolf Leader," she transmitted. "Begin torpedo runs on designated targets." The shield generators protecting Nexus Prime had never been attacked. They were massive structures, each one the size of a city, designed to withstand orbital bombardment from conventional fleets. But they had never faced Dr. Bay's electromagnetic pulse weapons, 6 nuclear warheads detonated simultaneously around the planet, sending massive energy pulses through the shield network. The generators, built for impressive displays of power rather than resilient operation, began overloading and shutting down. "Planetary shields are down," reported the sensor operator aboard the Human Spirit. "I repeat, shields are down." Admiral Park smiled grimly. "All ships, begin bombardment of orbital platforms. Fighter wings, you are cleared to engage, Colonel." Kim Sora led her squadrons toward the massive orbital defense platforms surrounding Nexus Prime. The alien weapon systems were enormously powerful, but they moved slowly and predictably. "Dragon Squadron, attack pattern Alpha," she commanded. "Hit them fast and get out before they can target us." Her fighters swarmed the orbital platforms like angry insects, their missiles and cannons exploiting weak points that the aliens had never bothered to armor properly. The platforms had been built to look impressive and fired devastating shots at large, slow targets. They were helpless against small, fast-moving attackers. On the surface of Nexus Prime, Supreme Admiral Zorthak watched his supposedly impregnable defenses crumble under human assault. Emergency reports flooded in from across the system as orbital platforms exploded and defense ships fell to human attacks. "How are they doing this?" he screamed at his tactical officers. "Sir, they're not following any recognized attack patterns." "Their tactics make no sense according to standard military doctrine." "Then maybe standard military doctrine is wrong," Zorthak snapped. It was the first time in Dominion history that anyone had questioned their military philosophy. But as human, ships continued to destroy defensive positions with apparent ease. It was becoming obvious that something was fundamentally flawed in their approach to warfare. Admiral Park received surrender offers from half the Dominion fleet within 6 hours of the attack beginning. The remaining ships were trying to flee the system, leaving their homeworld defenseless. "Open a channel to the planetary government," he ordered. Supreme Admiral Zorthak's face appeared on the main screen, his expression mixing fear and disbelief. "Supreme Admiral," Park said calmly, "I am Fleet Admiral Park Ji-hoon of Earth. Your invasion of my world has failed. Your fleet has been defeated, and your defenses have been neutralized. I'm offering you the same choice you gave us. Surrender, now, or face total defeat." "This is impossible," Zorthak whispered. "We are the Galactic Dominion. We do not surrender to primitives." "You're right," Admiral Park agreed. "You don't surrender to primitives. You surrender to a species that's very, very good at war. The question is, do you want to learn how good we are, or do you want to start negotiating?" Master Sergeant Ryu Donghyun watched from the detention bay as the